Good morning, ladies. I hope you enjoyed video or rotation two. This is rotation three for us, and I'm going to jump right in. Here you can see, once again, I have a big note in the note section, and here's one thing I want to point out today. Being that we have rotated into rotation three, what's happened is we had our libero over here in the left side back, and in order for us to rotate, she would have to be moving up to the front, which is not allowed. She's not allowed in the front, so we are going to make a slight change. Anytime this happens, actually a big change. So what would happen is when Anna, our libero, would be moving up, or Anna G would be moving up, we were actually going to make I called it a double switch, even though the league or volleyball calls it one substitution. So what we would do is we would actually have Madison sub for Ava, because Ava was in the process of moving back into this position. And what that would do is if we move Madison for Ava, then Madison can take the front position, and then Anna in the libero position can sub for where Ava was at. So remember, Ava was in this front position in the front, and the middle position was back in rotation two. But when we moved up, that meant that our libero would have to play in the front, and that's not allowed. So what we have to do is actually substitute, having Madison come in as a sub. She would play the front, and then that would then allow us to put Anna in the back here as our libero and allow her to serve if needed. So that's what we're going to do. That's our important substitution here that I wanted to point out to you. So that said, let's talk about our rotation now. The third rotation, which is much like the sixth rotation, involves actually not too much of a complicated change, but it does seem to be one that's hard for some people to memorize. So what I want you to see is we would actually have Madison move up into the corner here so that there's not any crossing violations. And we would then have Anna, because remember our goal, we said earlier in the previous video, the end goal of every change or every rotation is to, or every move, is to have our setter move to the front. And we did talk about, I'm going to go back and point one thing out to you. We did talk about making sure you don't cross your neighbor in front of you or on the side of you. Well, this is different, because there's nothing in volleyball that says you can't cross the person on the diagonal from you. So what we want to do is have you see that Anna can move up and Charlize can move back, because there's nothing in the rules that says that those two can't cross each other diagonally. The key thing is that Anna can't get in front of Madison closer to the front net. So that's why I put Madison really close to the corner, so that we can get Anna up here a little bit in this position. That would then have us ready for two things. We could have a outside hitter on this side from Charlize. We could also then have this happen where Emma becomes a right side hitter, and Anna could set it back to Emma. And once again, then Madison could move in and actually be a middle hitter if that's necessary. So to do the middle as well. So that's basically our rotation three. I'm going to go back and do it one more time, showing you where everybody would start at. Remember that thing I told you at the beginning of rotation two, check your neighbors, check to make sure you're across from your position twin. So in this case, Sydney and Charlize, or Sophie and Charlize, are across from Sydney or Haley in this position. Madison and Anna are across from each other, and Emma and Anna are across from each other in this case. Ava, I know you're wondering where am I in this video. Remember, you've been substituted out in this position specifically, so it's just part of one of our many substitution processes that we'll be going through, and I wanted to talk about this one specifically since we do have to handle our libero position in this case. So this is our home position again for rotation three. Remember, I said paying attention to who your neighbor is. You can't cross your neighbor, but you can cross somebody diagonal from you. So what we're going to do is move Charlize back and Anna up, with Anna not crossing Madison. So we're going to move her really close to the corner up here so that we don't cross Madison. And then what that does is that puts our setter in a setting position so that once the ball is received back here by our back row, Anna can then go to set either in the corner for Charlize or Sophie to hit, or it could be where Emma, who is behind her, could be the right side hitter, or it could be where Madison moves in and does a middle, hitting from the middle. So that's basically rotation 3. The key thing to remember is that change in this cross corner is the key part, with Madison moving into the corner here. We'll talk about that in practice, but let's also look at where the defensive change would then be. Remember, we said specifically that we always want to have our middle in the middle for our defensive position. So in this case, our middle player is Madison. We want her there. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply move Charlize or Sophie over and have them switch with Madison. And then what that does is it sets us up perfectly exactly where we wanted everybody to be. We would also in the front row, and then what that also would then mean is we would just need to switch, in this case, our libero and our setters. Because remember, as we did in our first 2 rotations, we talked about the setters have to both be on the right side in defensive position. Our middles have to be across from each other, and our outside hitters have to be across from each other in our defensive position. So in this case, it is a little bit more of a movement for our back row, for both Anna and Anna to flip or switch. But otherwise, it's not as much of a move, I think. So let's talk about that one more time. Just remember that our setters will be on the right side. Our hitters will be across from each other in the X. I keep referring to the X, so I'm going to see if I can actually show you what I mean by that. I'm going to just show you a quick idea of what I mean by the X in this case. See if I can find myself some smart art here that will let me do that. Well, it's not letting me do it real quickly. So what I just mean is that if I were to draw a line from Charlize and Sophie and connect them with their position sisters, Sydney and Haley, there would be a line directly here. And then I could do the same thing for Anna and Madison, connecting a line. And if I put that line there, you would have almost the equivalent of an X in that position. So just think of that as helping you remember, okay, where do I need to be? And just remember that our setters stay on the right side for our defensive position. So that is basically, I think that this puts us at the conclusion of our first 3 rotations. And the key thing to remember for the next 3 is that everything is the exact opposite. So for example, 1 and 4 are opposites of each other, 2 and 5 are opposites of each other, and 3 and 6 are opposites of each other. And I'll show you what I mean by that in our next video. It helped me to understand that, for example, let me just get to the point of that, I guess. 3 and 6 are going to be opposites of each other. So what I expect will happen in 3 and 6 is that Emma will be in the back and Anna will be in the front. They're in opposite positions of where they were in 3. Madison will be, or our middle 1 will be in the back, and our middle 2 will be in the front in position 6 or rotation 6. Sydney / Haley will be in the front. Charlize and Sophie for rotation 6 will be in the back. You're just thinking, where was I in rotation 3? Well, I'm going to be in the exact opposite for my position for rotation 6. That's all, the only difference. That's something we'll have to master as we get through it, but I want you guys to have these first 3 definitely mastered by Saturday so that we have our practice going with some flow. So let me know if you have any questions.